Okay. There's been a lot floating out there about Canada becoming the 51st state. Trump called Trudeau basically a governor, trolling him. And apparently, because of the trade wars, Canada gets, like America loses 100 billion to Canada a year. So like, if Canada can't be its own independent country on its own, whether it comes to military or economical reasons, hypothetically, let's just say that America was nuked. Everything was just America. We got nuked. Everyone else is fine. Our major cities all got nuked, causing us into civil conflict, and the rest of the world is just going on how we are right now. And it didn't cause any like climate change or anything like that. Just like strategical nukes. Boom, hit Washington D.C., one hits Los Angeles, one hits New York, or a few of them, whatever it does, enough to cause enough damage to cause a lot of chaos here in our country. And then hypothetically, our nukes didn't work because like the aliens said, nope, you guys are the bad guys. You can't fire no nukes. You deserve this. I'll just say this is a hypothetical thing. Canada wouldn't survive. Canada would struggle big time without us. They would probably turn into a third world country very quickly. They would suffer big time without us. So like basically Canada is not an independent country. And how the UK has decided to go the route they're going, the UK is going to turn into a third world country at some point. It's not a third world country, but it's not going to be as economically viable as it has been in the past, and currently at some situation, definitely, probably one of the leaders, economically in when it comes to world power. But I mean, maybe not like top 5 but in the top 20 maybe. The UK is. I'm not too sure. Maybe top 50 out of the 200 countries there is on this planet. Okay. Obviously, they're not gonna be able to survive on their own. So they're not an independent country. So they are a state. And they rely on us. They rely on us military. If somebody attacks us, like they don't send as much resources to all these wars that we do. They don't even send as much people as we do. We send way more than they do. I wouldn't be surprised if we pay more in the UN than they do. And they have this their healthcare system is absolute trash. The healthcare system is something I have to is a perplex system that needs to be dissected, but there is greed inside our healthcare system that needs to be eradicated, so regular people can have access to healthcare without having to live on the street. Going bankrupt. Okay. Obviously, we're declining in human population. And this isn't just a phenomenon limited to America or first world countries. There's a lot of countries across the world that are except for countries in Africa and Arabian countries, their populations are either keeping up what they were or expanding, which I never. Okay. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna see you might see some of these major cities turn into ghost cities because it can't sustain itself. It doesn't have the people to sustain itself. So people start fleeing these cities, and you'll probably see it in Japan first. You'll probably see a Mecca, the most prestigious city that everyone knows, Tokyo, the most high-tech city well, probably the most high-tech city out here, honestly. Well, if you don't produce enough young people to take over these jobs that these old people were doing, and these older people decide, well, they can't do these jobs no more and they want to go ahead and retire, you don't have people in the infrastructure to keep it moving forward. So then you'll have some type of a collapse. Especially like if the older population is relying on the younger population to work. I mean, it's one thing to keep the infrastructure going, but if you rely on the taxes or what have you, I'm not too sure how they do it over there, but obviously like the government takes in taxes over there. So I'm wondering how they take care of the older folks. For me, I want robots, that I want robots to save us, technology, because that's the most humane thing to do, is develop technology to alleviate this problem of societal collapse. You'll probably see a lot of these major cities go inhabited across the globe in the next 50 years. Because not only are people not having kids like they were, you're going to have people leaving this planet. You're going to have people moving to Mars. So like it doesn't make sense to have all these people like sparsed all over the globe in some type of global, like far away from each other, and try to have like global trade or what have you. No, what we can do. Okay, I got 42 minutes on this video. What we can do is we can make America great again. We can make it amazing here. We can make this an economic booming country that becomes the emerald of the whole world. Once again, because we really haven't. We've been declining. It's mostly because self-sabotage. There's been a lot of poor leadership in America, and the adults are about to take over, and I feel very optimistic when they take over. Okay. So, what we can do, considering what's about to come, which I hear nobody talking about, you hear population decline. Yes, there's a lot of significant problems with when you have to keep on producing people, and you have to keep producing people to keep up. It's like kind of like our GDP or whatever. Like we have to keep producing so much to keep up with our bills. Let's just allocate that towards robots. Let's just allocate that stuff towards robots as much as possible. So we don't have to utilize human labor in that aspect, especially when it comes to like physical labor. So we take over Canada, take over Mexico. It doesn't make any sense to like guard the whole south of America, what it currently is, when you can just like take over Mexico, and that little strip of land at the very bottom is a lot easier to guard than that extensive thousands of miles. I don't know, hundreds or thousands of miles, whatever our border is, to Mexico. And then make Mexico amazing. Like Americans like to go to Mexico. Mexico has some of the most beautiful places. Get rid of the cartels. Get rid of the gangs here. These people, you need, like, listen, man, like that shit is done. That thug life crap, we're not doing it no more. It's cool for the movies. It's cool for video games, but for real life, that nobody in a civil society wants to have to constantly watch their back. Nobody wants to feel like their life is going to, every second they're awake, that their life can be taken from them. People like a civil society where there's a lot of trust. Okay, we need trust. So, my thing is, we're going to have to reorganize society. And we need to make it so people want to come here. At some point, like, I know, like, okay, we gotta be chilling out about how bringing people here. We gotta chill out about immigration. I'm cool with immigration. I really am. I love immigration. Like, the whole idea that the left tries to put out about the people like me or people on the right, like, maybe there's people on the right that are there's a certain element of the right is like they're racist and they only want white people here or whatever. Like, and I don't have a problem with like just areas of different dominance from each race. And that's what I'm saying. That's what America should evolve into. Americans should have just expansive land where we can integrate. We can take over Mexico, Canada, Greenland, those little islands like below us if we want to, Central America if we want to, or we can just leave it, and we can build up these different places and make them amazing places where people can bring their culture. And like, we can't mix cultures. We have to separate cultures, okay? Cultures are different than race. Now, there's some cultures that align more with certain races because of traditionally. But things are evolving. People are being more accustomed to different cultures and open-minded to learning different cultures and different ideas and not just going along with the tradition. So like, my family, the people I come from are predominantly Christian type of people who have that, they celebrate Christmas and stuff like that. So obviously, if I come out to them as I'm pagan or I'm Muslim, there's going to be a lot of conflict between us. Not because of me, I can be accepting of their beliefs, but their beliefs against me. So, if I'm Muslim, I'm not going to want to live amongst Christians. And if I'm Christian, I'm not going to want to live amongst Muslims. And if I'm Jewish, I'm not going to want to live amongst people who love Taoism. You know what I'm saying? We can keep each other separate in different cultures, which is best, because if you mix cultures, it creates violence, it creates animosity, because people harbor like past indiscretions and things of like past traditions. People like there's like people who are fighting 1,000-year wars, like stuff that happened it's like crazy, man. Like, what are you worried about? Like, hundreds of years ago? Like, you're people who are like obsessed with like hundreds of years ago when we don't live in that. Oh, Bitcoin's gonna be going over 100 grand, looks like. Anyway, I want to know if that prediction works out. The prediction that I said that possibly Bitcoin could be worth millions next year. I'm not saying it's gonna sustain it. I'm just saying it could shoot up to 3 million, but then it comes back down to 500,000. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's gonna sustain that. I'm saying it is possible that it does shoot up astronomical for a little bit of time due to the wealthy's FOMO. That is a possibility. Maybe they don't FOMO in. Countries will FOMO in. And that's what makes me think, like, okay, if it was just the wealthy, it was just the rich, okay, like, I get it. But since countries are going to FOMO in, and then you got companies that are going to FOMO in, and then, like, individual wealthy people FOMO, like, this is why I think honestly, like, who knows how high Bitcoin can get next year. If that situation arises, who knows how big? Like, Bitcoin went to 100 million. I'm serious. I know it sounds crazy, but at some point it could go way up to 100 million and then drop back down to 70,000. I'm like, that would be crazy. I'm not saying that could happen. And if it did go up to 100 million, there's no way the bottom is going to be 70,000. I think the bottom would be a lot higher than that. But I'm just saying, like, you have all these people FOMOing in at the same time with the lack of supply. This is potential. Now, I can look like a genius if this does happen, or I can look like like I look like right now, like a crazy person that most people are like, oh, it's probably going to be 400,000 next year. I'm probably crazy. I just like, hey, listen, anything's possible. The fact that Trump's still alive, that tells me that anything is possible. So, because he should be gone right now. That first shot was on target. That first shot was there. If he didn't turn his head, he wouldn't be here right now. So, I think it was divine intervention myself. I think that there's some other energy creator, what have you, intervened somewhat. That's just my personal opinion. You look, if you simulate that situation over and over, you could simulate it so many times, and he would die every time, just basically every time. That was such an anomaly. And that prevented civilization collapse. I think civilization collapse, like immediate civilization collapse when it comes to nuclear annihilation. I think that we avoided nuclear annihilation with that. It's crazy, and nobody wants to talk about that. But like, yeah, we can sit here. Oh yeah, we'll go to civil war. But like, look at what's happening with Russia, man. Look at the leadership in charge right now. Everything's going towards dude. Putin's like, I'll be nuclear. I'll launch these. Like, he's saying that. He's been saying this, and he's been holding back. He's been going against his masculinity too. Like, when you're a masculine man, like, you say you're gonna do something, pretty much you need to do it. And that just shows like the diplomacy, the high intelligence, the recognition of the situation. I think that he was saying nuclear stuff for manipulation, but I think that he was dead serious if we keep the current situation going forward. Well, we're in a proxy war with Russia. America's not at a direct war, but we are at war with Russia, and he knows it. And most people don't know it, but we've been at war with Russia. Okay. So yeah, we can set up America to just be this gigantic land where you can come and you don't have to worry about property taxes. You can claim land and start up a community there of people that have the same mindset. We can set up like these huge 15-minute beautiful amazing cities. We can take the cities and revamp them with, like, listen, if you're gonna be a criminal, man, like, we can set up, like, okay, we can set up gulags, some type of reforming camps, or like you're expelled. We're expelling you from our land. We're kicking you out. We're gonna buy up this property here. Oh, how much do you want for this land in the middle of nowhere? Similar to Australia, or we send all of our undesirables. Like, we don't want these. Like, you can't be a productive member of society. You're causing chaos. If that's what you want, if you want to live in a life of chaos, go ahead. But you're not going to live in our society no more. Sorry. I don't care if you're an American citizen or not. Your rights don't oppress other people's rights. And that's just how it is. And we're probably going to have to exile people. I'm serious, we're going to have to exile people. And that's probably better than the prison system, honestly. It's a better deterrent. Watch the movie No Escape with Ray Liotta. That was an amazing movie back in '92. Amazing concept. Which I think is more of a humane thing instead of just like having, like, what's the point? You're just having me sit in a cage. For what? For all these years, for what? Why are you maintaining me? What's the point? At taxpayer expense. Well, if I'm not going to be a productive member of society, if I'm going to be a degenerate to society, if I'm going to be a violent person, well, I'm not going to be part of the society. I'm booted. I'm kicked out. We want productive members of society who's going to produce positive results. But yeah, the utopia probably will be coming, and this is why I say we have to set up America, considering the population decline along the world. Yeah, if you don't want to be a part of civilization, this needs to be the mecca of civilization. And we can use different aspects of different places where we can continue civilization there as well that has really good infrastructure. But what I'm saying is we need to kind of like organize people a little bit better. If you want to be like, go live in the woods or whatever, it's just, like if we take Canada over or Mexico, you get this land, it's your land now. You don't have to pay on it no more. You conquered the land. There. Then we don't have to worry more. We don't have to hear any more about, oh, this land was somebody else's like 500 years ago. It's like, okay. All right. It was somebody else's. It was probably like, listen, whoever the population here is now, which is probably 0.00001% of the population, this is all their land now. like yeah, this was their land a long time ago, but like, which one? There's a lot of different tribes that conquered each other, so like this was really a free for all, and we just came and took it, conquered, just like somebody else can, just like the woke virus is trying to conquer us right now. The mind woke. So it's just like, I think that we could, we need to keep cultures separate from each other, because I want to be able to experience different cultures and feel safe, man. And I think that doesn't everybody want that? Don't you want to be able to go to like different cultures and you can like, yeah, sure, I'm a visitor. I'm not dressed like everybody else, but I'm enjoying the experience. I'm enjoying the food. I'm enjoying the people. Like, can we get to like positive? Like, why do we always have to like? We need to get to the point where we're not like trying to hurt each other anymore. So like, we're trying to help each other. Imagine, the people on Mars, like, they're not going to be the first people on Mars are going to be helping each other. And they're probably going to have robots helping them, but like, they're probably going to be more of a community. They're not going to try to stab each other in the back. They're probably like want to have like a harmonious type of environment, so people can excel in it, and that's what we should strive for as humans. And we want to try to get rid of. We can keep like combative things, violent sports if people want to do that. It can be like different events, but for the most part, we can just do that in the digital reality. Like, there's no need for like physical human suffering when we can do all that stuff. We can replicate it in the digital realm. Because I like Grand Theft Auto is one of my favorite games. I like being a criminal in there, but I know it's fake. I don't want to be a real criminal and out here. I want to go do whatever I wanted, and then suffer the consequences. I got all these cops coming after me, or like society. It's a video game, and then I get taken out. It's like, okay, whatever. It's just simulation of an experience, But this is the Matrix right here. What I'm talking into, what you're viewing me from. This is definitely a man-made dimension. It's a man-made dimension. Of course, it's labeled as something else, but how much people live their lives. For instance, Okay, I've been sick the last couple of days, and I haven't I haven't wanted to go anywhere. I haven't gone to work, and I've just been laying in bed all day, and I've been on X. Well, people do that every day. Like they just like sit in bed. Like Tiffany Fong, she even said it. Like I'm just in bed all the time. I bet you a lot of people on X are just laying in bed all day, making content, and that's all they do. Um, so they don't live in reality. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that don't live in reality. They don't have to come out here and grind like I do. They don't have to participate like I do. Um, so they don't know the experience. They just assume, which I understand. I understand their ignorance. There's a lot of people who are very well off, which myself, I am very envious. I mean, who wouldn't be envious of if your job was just to post content on X and then you get and it sustains you? Like who and you got hundreds of thousands of people like following you. Who's not gonna be like that's a and maybe like maybe these people will find like if X was to disappear overnight, it'd be hard for them to find a purpose. But like me at this point, it's kind of like you have to make your own purpose, and I struggle with that too. It's like sometimes I go through depression, and I think like, what's the point? What's the point of this? You know, it's like what materialism, so I could try to be perceived as I'm well off or I fit in with society and the norm. Like that's cool. I'm so happy for like normal people or whatever. Um, you know, the stereotypical like suburban like that's good. I think that's a good thing. Like I think that's the best environment to raise a family in, to be honest, as long as like as long as you have the man and the woman and a proper structure and good upbringing for the kids, because it's a stable environment. I think that kids need a very stable environment to flourish, to grow, to not take um, severe emotional blows when they're young. Um, you don't want a lot of trauma to happen to kids, man. Like you want them to like learn and grow and be sponges and be themselves and be in this type of fantasy fake reality where they have what is that, imaginations, which most adults don't have any type of imagination, let alone critical independent thought of their own. But like I still have somewhat of an imagination as a mid 40s year old man. Like most people lose it a long time ago, and I think that it helps with my creativity. It helps with my visionary type of concepts. I put two and two together. You know, the stuff I say, maybe it will never happen, but it is quite possible stuff that it could rhyme with what I say. You know, I honestly like I am an optimistic person. Um, Overall, because I still have that childlike, naive, and it's crazy that I could still, after everything I've been through, I could still have a little bit of that innocence of just not thinking that everybody is bad. I don't know. This world is really, really, really tough, man. It's really tough for the youth. Um, I want there to be kids are absolutely amazing. They're the greatest thing on this planet. They are so cool. Even though I didn't appreciate my kids' youth like I wish I would have, looking back, man, and I did appreciate different experiences with them. They were cool. You know how cool it was. Like, you come home from work and they come run into you. It was like when they're real little. It was such a cool thing. They like adored you. Like, they worship, like, they not worship, but like they mimicked you. They wanted to be like you. Like, you're their first. You're the superhero. So it's definitely like a really cool. And when I tell people, I just want people to create a situation that their kids will thrive in and not have to have mental illnesses and unnecessary suffering that may it may cause problems for their development. I don't want there to be problems in kids' development. I think that they should have one parent there at least all the time. And if they could have both, that's even better. That's even better. So what we should be striving for as humanity, part of it is it's not just a move to different planets to sustain our human existence in this, so, so we don't go out as a whimper, so we don't just like go extinct or whatever. At some point, without any type of intervention, we're going to go extinct. Unless you know what I mean? At some point, we're going to go extinct. At some point, our sun is going to burn out. So humans aren't going to be able to exist on this planet at some point in the future. So at some point, we're going to go extinct. And it's going to be like coming here and, digging up fossils or tablets, kind of like that. But it would be cool if we could actually preserve some kind of humans, or being able to tell our story even more so than like trying to unearth things and trying to put two and two together, try to figure things out. It can be like, oh, this is our story. Man, I think the internet could help out a lot with that. If somebody does come from a different type of, I don't know, maybe we get sucked in a black hole. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, like, in this realm is going to probably be something different trillions of years from now. So, like, yeah. We not only should we strive to go to different planets, but we should strive to create the best environment to produce well-adjusted, emotionally intelligent humans. So, with that being said, I'm going to say something nobody talks about, but it needs to be said. Our brains, our frontal cortex, right here, it doesn't stop developing until we're 25. I drank when I was younger. I smoked weed. I smoked cigarettes. So what did that do with my frontal cortex? My frontal cortex is, I think it's pretty well off now. It was not adjusted very well when I was younger, 20 years ago. But my prefrontal cortex, I would probably be way more intelligent right now if I was brought up in a situation where I had a father, a mother, one of them stay at home. It's more natural for the mom to stay at home because she incubated me. I was literally a part of her. Like, literally, I was a part of my mom. They had to cut us apart. So, naturally, babies want to be around their mother. So, That is the most important job for a woman or a female on this planet, to be a mother. To make sure that your baby feels wanted, feels loved. They need you around all the time. Now, when the kid grows up, they don't need you as much, but they need you probably from birth all the way up to before teens. They need the mother. Before preteen, when they start becoming more independent, more adventurous, start maturing more. But if our prefrontal cortex doesn't stop developing until we're 25, and that has to do with our emotional intelligence as well, we probably shouldn't, honestly, alcohol, any of that stuff, you could keep it at 21, whatever, but educate people and let them know that your brain isn't done developing until you're 25. If they don't care, they don't care. So it's probably, I don't know about banning stuff. Banning stuff has like the opposite effect, but at least the average person doesn't know that. The average person doesn't know that your brain stops. Your frontal cortex, probably the most important part of your brain, prefrontal cortex, doesn't stop developing until you're 25. And if you do these, if you participate in these types of events when you're young, it could prevent the development. It could alter the development. It could, you know what I mean? So if you want a fully developed frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, you probably don't want to engage in these types of activities until you're over 25. And they're even saying like people who are young shouldn't smoke weed. I remember at one point when I was like 20, and I'm like, marijuana should be legal for people over 16 and up. I have since, and this is where intelligence comes in, is like you see stuff and then they come out with new information. Like, okay, actually marijuana is pretty bad for young people. People seem to be developing more schizophrenic type of tendencies if they ingest, smoke, what have you, THC. So it's probably best for you to wait till you get to a certain age before you engage in these type of activities. Like if you're old like me, yeah, who gives a damn? You know, like there's no development left. I can develop, I can learn, I can gain new knowledge, but like, there comes a point where it's just like, honestly, we really don't know too much about the brain, but we will. We're going to know. Watch. We're going to know a lot. We're going to know so much about everything in our body. Coming up very soon. So the best thing I can say is be open to different ideas for going forward. Be open to learning new things. Be open to trying different experiences. Be open to change. Be open to change. We adapt very well. Humans adapt very well. It just takes a little bit of time. I'll use this analogy. Whenever I was listening to music all the time on the radio when I was younger, I listened to the rock station. I like the rock station at this point in my life. They come out the new song from a band I never heard of, and I could hear it the first time and be like, eh. But then they play it a few other times, and it kind of like, okay, you get more used to it. And then it's like, okay, I like that song. That song's pretty good. Because I heard it enough times and I got used to it. I adapted. At first I didn't like it. It was new, something different. And I heard it some more. It's familiarity. Humans love familiarity. That's how we adapt to familiarity. We don't handle extreme change very well at all. And people need to understand that we don't handle extreme change in our environments or anything else psychologically very well. I mean, you can get used to it. you can be used to being a free man and then being sent to prison and then adjust to that life, or vice versa. Maybe I don't know. There's going to be something else that comes in there, vice versa, like rehabilitating people. Probably a really extensive dynamic that we have to figure out. But like, yeah, we have a great skill to adapt. And I have to cut this off because I don't have no more space. So that's it.